Are doctors or medical associations, do they ever recommend assisted death? Or does this have to be brought up by the patient?
That's not the same thing. So the important thing is what we call the serious illness conversation. So when somebody has developed a fatal illness and the doctor is having that conversation, this is what's happening. Your heart failure has gotten to the point where we can only just manage it, and your life expectancy is now short. Then the important thing is to make sure they know their options. And that would be, what kind of palliative care? How can we make you more comfortable? Available in our area? Is there a hospice, residential hospice, for example, home care hospice, where people will come into your home and help take care of you as you die? What is available for you? And at that point, they should know that there is medically assisted death available, because that's part of how you would choose. You might say, okay, well, I don't want to burden my family when I'm no longer strong enough to, make it to the toilet and so on. So I would go into a residential hospice at that point, rather than expect my family to be taking care of me. And then, you have to actually know that one particular residential hospice won't allow an assisted dying there, and you need to choose one over the other. So you need to know these things. You need to know what's available and how best to plan the end of your life, whether you want a natural death or an assisted death. So that's really part of informed consent for the whole end-of-life care. And in an ideal situation, that's part of the serious illness conversation by somebody. It's not at the time of diagnosis. Usually I told you that my friends who got their horrible diagnoses in the last 7 years, that was one of their first thoughts was, I figure this MAID stuff out, make sure I have an exit if I don't, if I get to a point where I can't stand it anymore. But it's not necessarily that you say to somebody, I'm sorry, your tests show that the cancer has spread, the chemo's not working anymore, and we need to talk about providing the best possible comfort for you as you face the end of your life. That may not be the right day. Maybe it'll be a few weeks later, but it'll be sometime.
Yeah, that's probably too much information on that day, I would say. Do you think there are any cases in which assisted death should not be given as an option?
Do you mean diagnoses or?
Yeah, diagnoses.
Diagnoses? No, I don't think that a diagnosis itself takes all your rights away, because that's what you're talking about, right? So, but as I said, just because you have a diagnosis of schizophrenia does not mean you have all your rights taken away for the rest of your life. No, you have rights taken away. Sometimes when you're acutely psychotic, you cannot make decisions for yourself. And legally, your rights will be taken away from you. But once the acute psychosis is over, then you, like my stepson, you have total right over your own body and more.
Do you have any comments for people who might be skeptical about this procedure? Or who might not understand it or something?
Yeah. Just, this is a basic right that people should have, and luckily do in many places, to help control their own dying. And so it's important that we have the safeguards in our law and in our, standards and guidelines and so on, to make sure that that vulnerable people are not pressured. But we have those, and I'm really confident that everywhere I've investigated and know about, like the European countries and Australia and US and Canada, people take this very seriously and do their assessments carefully and are following the safeguards in our law